Welcome back. I'm Paul, and today we have an empty Lotto barrel, and we've got a pretty good selection of fairly large rocks that have come out of our 12-pound barrel on our weekly videos. So we're going to get those rolling in the Lotto, and we'll do the medium grit, and then we will move to 500 grit silicon carbide, and then 1000 grit silicon carbide, and then we will do the aluminum oxide polish. So this is a bigger gray rock. I don't know what it is, but it's kind of got a camo kind of look to it, and we've got it all smoothed off, ready to go. And then another red rock. I don't know, again, what it is. I don't know if this will polish even. It's got a little bit rougher texture, but it's all completely smoothed out, so we're going to try it. Normally, after I run it in the Lotto, if it's not going to polish, I can kind of tell after the first stage. It's hard to tell on coarse grit in the rotary, though. So we'll give it one stage in the Lotto to see what it looks like. We've got a pretty good, this one's hard to tell, it almost just looks black, but it's got a green look to it. Nothing a whole lot going on with it, just something that we found, and we've got it all smoothed out. And then we've got another miscellaneous rock that's red, kind of has some spots in it, it's hard to see. It's a darker red, almost a brown, I guess. And then another red rock that I don't know what it is. I ended up with a lot of red rocks recently, especially in this batch. And then here is a piece of green rock. Another one I don't know what it is. I know, like, if you have unikite, the green is epidote, but I don't really know if it's epidote or not. It very well could be. It's got about that right color, but this is a piece of chert or flint. I've heard them called both. I think they're about the same. They're very similar to a jasper. And then I believe that this is another piece of flint or chert. This one kind of has a little bit of banding going on in it. They do have banded chert, but this is I don't know if you'd exactly call this banded chert, but it's got some things going on. We've got a little striped stone. We did a bigger one of these here a while back, and it turned out really cool. This is some kind of an agate. It's got like some red looking moss inside of it, and it's semi-transparent. It's hard to see here, but maybe later when we're done polishing, we'll get the light on it. We've got a piece of rose quartz that has kind of like some bands going through it also. And then that is another piece of just chert or flint, about like those other two pieces. One small piece of wild horse picture jasper, and then a larger piece of wild horse picture jasper. So it's not a very full barrel, but a lot of them are bigger, so I don't know how they'll roll if I get it too full. So, and I also don't like my Lotto sitting there not running, so we're just gonna put ceramic media in for the rest of it. I gotta grab my phone. On the floor, and we're full of water. I'll just dump the water out through our fingers. And we might have to add some more ceramic when it gets rolling on the Lotto. But we'll get set up on the Lotto and we'll get things going in the medium grit. Alright, we're all set up on the Lotto. I recently did a little test batch and I ran every stage for one day. And I normally try to go for 3 per stage, but it doesn't always work out. Sometimes it gets gummed up and doesn't roll very well before 3 days. But I did a test run where we ran a day on every stage, and they actually turned out pretty good. I was pretty impressed with how well they turned out just going 1 day per stage. But I'm thinking on this batch we're going to stick with like 2 days per stage. right, we'll be back when they're ready to go to the next stage. All right, they ran for 2 days in 500 grit, and now they're all clean, barrels washed up, and we're going to get them going on 1000 grit silicon carbide for another 2 days. Wrong plug. A weak half a teaspoon. I'm going to put a touch more. All right, 2 more days and we'll be back for polish. All right, this batch ran for 2 days in the 1000 grit silicon carbide, and now I've burnished the rocks in the barrel just because I run all the stages in the same barrel because I only have one. So everything's cleaned up really well and we're ready to move on to polish. We'll go for 2 more days and we'll be done. We'll run a tablespoon of borax and a half a teaspoon of the polish. These rocks ran their 2 days in polish, and when we were done with the polish, I always just throw them back in the barrel. I rinse them all off and do a burnish for a few hours with some borax. Whether it needs it or not, it doesn't take much time and it doesn't hurt anything, so I do it. It was kind of a small batch because I had a couple that are a little larger and I didn't know how well they were going to roll in the Lotto if I had too much stuff in there, so I kind of ran more media and less rocks, but I think next time I could have put in more rocks, so a lesson learned. We'll take a little look at them. We actually had a couple of them that were, I don't know if I'd say a fail, but they didn't polish. I didn't know if they would or not, but they did not get a polish to them at all. Just a very, very dull shine, but we'll look at that here in a sec. So here's our piece of rose quartz, and that looks pretty good. It's funny how much time you spend on them, and then when you're done, you find little flaws that I felt like weren't there. So I don't know if a little bit pieces break off in the Lotto, but I don't know if a guy throws it back into coarse grit or if I just call it good. I'm thinking for now it's going to be good. Just call it good. So there's our rose quartz, and then we had one piece of Wild Horse Picture Jasper in this load. I think it's the only one, and that one looks really nice. All this Wild Horse Picture Jasper that I got turned out really, really awesome. I'm super happy with that stuff. I'll probably end up ordering some more of it. And this is a random red rock that we found locally. A lot of these rocks are things that I found, and I didn't know if they would polish or not, so I picked them up when we tried it, and I kind of like the red. I think it's red jasper. It did shine up nice, but I'm not 100% sure. but it definitely shined up nice. And then we had this red rock that it kind of has some, I don't know, it has some almost like fractures in it that you can kind of see. It didn't shine as well. I mean, it shines good, but it just has some imperfections in it, some spots and stuff. But it is what it is. And then this was another red rock I'd picked up, and this one basically didn't take any shine. I mean, it's a little shiny, but it's really dull in person. I might actually, I've got some cerium oxide that I plan on using on some obsidian because I've heard it works better. I may save some of these and try them with cerium and see if they will polish any better. Because, I mean, it can't hurt. And the other one I had was this one. This one, it kind of looks shiny in there, but it's way duller than the rest of them. It doesn't have that mirror shine. And I thought that this was chert, but I'm not 100% sure again. It just had that waxy look, so we thought we would try it. And this was a big dark green rock, and it shined up pretty good. Not as good as like the picture jasper and some of those other things, but it did all right. It's got that big crack in it that I really couldn't get rid of, but it was just a bigger green rock we found. We got this little guy that's got some lines on it, and that one shined up really nice. And this was another piece that I just thought was chert, and it shined up way better than that other piece. I mean, this thing is like really good. Like I would expect any nice piece of jasper or anything to shine up. It shined up really nice. And then there was this, I guess there was one more tiny little piece of Wild Horse picture jasper in there. And it turned out nice. And then this is another green rock that we found around. I've been kind of picking up stuff that's aren't brown, you know, trying to get some reds and some greens and stuff, and this thing shined up really nice. It kind of has a unakite look to it, but I don't honestly know if it is. It doesn't have as much necessarily red in it as unakite would, or the pink, but, or it could be epidote, I'm not sure. I think that's the green material in unakite, but it might be some other material entirely, and it just so happens to be green, and it shined up nice. So, and then this was another little piece of chert that we found. I guess you can see a little dimple in it right there. Could have rolled it a little longer. I think I rolled it plenty already. So that one polished up nice. And then we had this one. This is like an agate, and there was a crack in it right there that I couldn't get rid of, but it shined up really nice. And then I think it had a little hole. I don't see it now. Oh, it's right down here by my thumbnail. I don't know why, but my camera isn't focusing on that very well, but it is what it is. I might have to try to work on that. And last but not least, my favorite piece from this batch was this one. And this was one that we run in our 12-pound barrel. Had a bunch of fingerprints on it, and it shined up really nice. It's got a dark gray camo kind of look to it, and I'm pretty happy with how this one turned out. And this is kind of the star of the batch for me. It's not real exciting, but I like the rock, something we found. So that's what we've got on this batch, and everything turned out pretty good, and now I know I can load it up a little bit more, even though it has some big rocks in there. I'll probably take a couple pictures and tag them on the end of the video. And that's all for this one. Thanks for watching.